We're going to be using those gold paper clips to make these gloves. Smaller weave though. We're still going to be doing 4-in-1, but much smaller rings. Or I'm sorry, much bigger rings to speed this process up and make it easier for people to actually see what's going on. I've got some coils made already before we started. Not a whole lot, but enough to get us going. We're going to make one more just for the hell of it. Evening, Mysterious. Evening, Sean. Evening, Zoe. Alright, we're just making a couple more coils here, and we're going to start cutting the rings while everybody's jumping in. I'm a few minutes early to the live tonight. Evening, Scotty, Diesel, Anna. Let's see if I can avoid running a paperclip through my finger like I did last night. Although you sick people probably enjoyed it. Alright, got a good starting point. So these are obviously significantly bigger. 5 or 6 millimeters, so it should be about double what I have on the ones I'm wearing. We're doing that simply because this will go a lot faster. And I'm trying to get this done in one night. It's going to be a lot of work as it is. These would not be one night. So first step, before we can do anything, we need rings. You don't have to use paper clips. You can use coils of wire. You can buy them pre-cut. You can do however you like it. But I'm a paperclip artist, so they're making out of rings, out of paper clips. Looks like 5 rings per clip, which is a little bit better than I thought, thankfully. $82 people already, and we just started. Actually filling up pretty nicely. I always get rid of that little end piece. Never bends properly. Whew. These are 14 gauge steel, by the way. A little bit thicker than I'm used to working with, but I do like the gold color. Expensive, about 10 cents paperclip, but it's nice gold. It is painted on. Not by me, of course. Minor flaking, but nothing too major. Alright, that's plenty to get us started. Put the rest of these coils away before I lose them. So first step to making the gloves, you need the rings. Jump ring closer, jump ring opener, it's very handy. You can usually pick these up on Amazon for about $5. There are some cheap, crappy ones that will break on you in 5 minutes. what we're going to do is we're going to close all of these. Well, not all of them, but we're going to close a little bit of them just to get them ready to go. When you first cut them, there is a slight defect, and you have to take care of that. And a little snap move will get rid of any of the metal spurs off the end of it. Makes close them and open them a lot easier. I personally like the end snips over wire cutters because you get a much cleaner cut. It's almost perfectly smooth. Slight defect, but regular wire cutters will pinch the metal. You can see a little tiny bit of it pinched if I can get it to focus. Quiet room tonight. All right. Got a little bit ready to go. So, nice closed rings right there. We're just going to open about 4 of them. One. Apparently my dog has gotten loose. 2. 3 and 4. Alright, now we are officially ready to start. First stage to making the gloves, we are doing European 4-in-1. You are going to need 4 closed rings, 1 open ring. Pinch the open one, just like so, so you got the opening right there. And we're going to hook all 4 of the others onto that 1 ring. That's all we've done. We've just put 4 rings on that 1. Very easy, simple first step. Close it. Now once you close it, you're going to take it in your hand, like so, and you're going to put 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And just separate them, just like that. Now that you got it separated like that, you're going to give them a little flip. All of this will be uploaded to my YouTube channel later, by the way. So you can fast forward, rewind as needed. So that's what you want it to look like. 2 on this side, 2 on that side, laid out just like that. Pinch it with your finger so that you can hold that pattern there. Gonna grab our next open one. And we're gonna push through the first 2 on there only. So just those top 2. Then we're gonna take one of our closed rings. We're gonna put it on the right. Another closed ring. Put it on the left. If you can do that, you can make 4-in-1. And you can make these gloves. You just gotta have the patience for it. So we're just gonna keep doing that. It's a very simple movement. So the objective here, first stage of gloves, is to make a little rope out of the 4-in-1 that's going to fit however high you want it. You want to cut it off just below the thumb, you can do that. I personally like it up there. So we need to make a rope that is that long. I love being on people's For You page. I won't complain about that one. And that is it for those rings. Hello, Ellie. Or Eiley, however you pronounce it. So, I'm going to take this glove off since we're using this as a measurement. set it right there. That is how far we've got to go. Even with these big rings, this is going to take a bit of time. A lot of people don't. And I do it slower than most because I make it out of paper clips. But you don't have to be an artist to appreciate the art. I follow plenty of other artists that I sure can't do what they do. .14 gauge steel starts to hurt the fingers doing that. You can see the little marks. So you got to switch it up a lot. Don't really need the... Alright, so the ring, go over this one again. It's just a simple little device. It's got little slots in it, various sizes. What you use it for is a second pair of pliers. So you shove one end of the ring through the hole, and then you can twist without having to pull out a second pair of pliers when you might have your hands full. Very important tool to have. .353. I think we just beat my all-time at one-time record. But yes, the thicker the wire, the more uncomfortable the ring's going to get after a while. This first little chain that you're making, most important one. Gonna do another measurement here, but pretty sure I'm still short. Yeah, I'm still short. Legal what? It is chainmail, specifically gloves. We are making gloves out of chainmail, and we're making the chainmail out of paper clips. Out of those. Almost messed up. Actually, no. They are galvanized steel. I wish they were stainless steel, but unfortunately, Paperclip standard are galvanized, which means they are not weatherproof. As for bulk, if I'm buying silver, I just walk in the Office Depot, and I can usually get 1,000 of them for $5-6. The gold ones, I bought 500 of them for my Loki project, which is ongoing. They are, unfortunately, about $5 to $6 for 50 of them. That's right, 50 of them. So these are about 10 cents a paperclip. Very expensive. Alright, so has it slipped or fallen off? So the bigger the ring, the weaker it is. This weave with 3mm very, very tiny rings, it ain't breaking. I've never done a strength test, but it ain't breaking. Whether or not I'd allow somebody to stab me with it, that's a different story. Alright, circle that of paper clips. Gotta measure anyway. A little bit of a hang up on that one. We're almost there. Alright, step one. Paperclip. any color you like. Straighten the paperclip. Best you can, doesn't have to be perfect. Get yourself a little metal rod. I've got a whole bunch of them. You can also do it with wooden dowel rods, but it won't last as long, but you can get dowel rods for, $1. So take your little piece, wrap it around. Your first ring right there is going to be loose. Take your pliers, give it a couple of good pinches all the way around. Bigger the ring, the more this is going to be a problem. And then you just keep going all the way. Trying to keep it as tight as you can. The bigger the gap between the twist, the less the rings are going to be usable. I'm just going to seal it around without stabbing. That's how I got that one through my finger on last night's live. Very uncomfortable. Then you got a little tiny coil. Does not work well for a spring. Again, 14 gauge. And then you snip. I'm sure you will not be the last person to ask tonight. So I'll probably do that about 20 more times, but I'm going to need a whole lot more rings anyway. Got some more coils pre-cut though. So we're going to do 2 more rows. So anything you see on my channel is 100% paper clips at all times. There's a very few rare exceptions, and if I do put something other than paper clips in a project, I will make sure to acknowledge that. But it's rare, very rare. Now, if you want to do some really, really fast chainmail, the outer ring on this is just one single paper clip. Technically, I could make chainmail out of those big ones, but it wouldn't be very sturdy. So it would be a lot faster, but not cheaper. This is a ring closer. It's a little tiny ring with little slots in it. You take your jump rings, stick it in there, and twist. But, so let's say you want to go buy some jump rings and you see 1,000 of them for whatever, 20 bucks. Like I said, I can get 1,000 paper clips for $5, and I can make about 10 of the little tiny rings like this out of this one little paper clip. So it's definitely cheaper to do with paper clips, but it's not easier. It's definitely slower. A lot slower. I have seen some nice rubber jump rings that could be very helpful for bracelets. I might buy some of those. Simply because I have no way of reproducing rubber out of paper clips. I do have limits. Alright, let's do a height test. Hey, you guys are wasting time watching me. The least I can do is answer the questions. Alright, so, like I said, that's the most important one. We have our height. Now we need to go the opposite way. We need to go horizontal. Horizontal is a little bit different with 4-in-1. There's a few different ways you can do it, but for this, we're going straight sideways. I'm going to get a couple of rings ready here. Yeah, I've seen some outrageous prices for pre-cut jump rings. Now, you can get them pretty cheap if you make your own out of a spool of wire. But if you want a good cut on there, you're going to need a good piece of equipment, which I'm not a fan of. And for the love of God, people, if you are going to buy wire or jump rings, stop buying aluminum. Aluminum is a garbage metal, especially for jewelry. One good bump and the whole thing's breaking. Alright, we only got 5 rings ready. We'll have to cut some more in a minute, but that's enough to go sideways. So we're going to open it. We're going to go right from the top here. And we're just going to do the exact same thing we did before, but instead of going through the top 2, we're going to go through the top 2 on the right. Still only 2, though. Now I'm going to put 2 on there. And we're going to close it. And we've still got the same pattern. It's just now we're going sideways. Now the point of going sideways, just like before we were trying to get the verticality on the glove, now we're trying to go around the hand. Oh, I am going to need to cut some more before I go forward. Just so I don't lose those. I'm going to do another 5. 25 more rings. September 15th, 2020 would be what now? I love the random comments sometimes. Barbecue sauce. I am not a ranch person. Really anywhere. The most important piece here is your end snips. I go through a couple pairs of these a year though. $10 or so. Any hardware store's got them. You usually find them in the electrical aisle. Don't use scissors. At least not for trying to cut through steel. You will end up cutting your hand off. Yeah, maybe just a finger. Got some really weak paper clips you might be able to do with scissors, but it ain't going to be a very clean cut. With that being said, 16 years ago when I first started, that's how I cut them. It was a horrible idea. But I did not have any tools at the time. And I was bored, so it didn't work. And I said, gee, I wonder what I can make out of paper clips. Started with the paperclip chain like most people do. Then I made a shopping cart. It was a horribly ugly shopping cart, but it worked. All right, back in business. When you're choosing which ring to use on the ring, you want to try to get the one that's closest to the gauge of your wire. First year of college was to be a physics teacher. But then things happened and I stopped. Two jobs. I do property management, office, not residential, not a slum landlord, and private security. Suit and tie private security, not rent-a-cop outfit private security. So, more bodyguard type stuff. Hey, my nails actually gotten a lot longer than they were a month ago. Back then, they were a nightmare. I make absolutely nothing. I give everything I make away. Purely for the fun of it. Provided you have the patience. Alright, just for some stability here, we're going to add an underside row. Nothing to it. This one went through those two, so this next one's going to go through this one and that one. And just the bottom one on that side. And that's how you fill it in. But there's faster methods that we're going to employ later. I have thought about it. I've got, I might do rings for sale. But a lot of these projects that I do take dozens, if not hundreds of hours. So selling them for any amount of money that they would actually be worth would be pretty hard to do. I'm going to go through just those two. And I'm going to drop it and hopefully not lose my spot. I have not tried. I just got these gold ones last week. So I have not experimented too much with them. But I do see some flaking with the paint. So I'd imagine their lifespan isn't that great. The gloves have held up over 10 years, not 15, over 10 years. That's just plain old galvanized steel. Man, I'm having some dropping tonight. I always drop a little. It's not a good sign when I drop it twice in a row. It's a bad omen. That's also due to the gold. They're slippery, and these are the pliers I use, also from Amazon from years ago. They've got no threads on them, so they don't scratch up the metal. Wire nose, more serious stuff, they do have threads, though. So I only use those when I have to. Let's see here. I don't got a dice bag, but I have a paperclip bag that holds more paperclips. Obviously, it would also work as a dice bag. Alright, pattern's holding. We're just going to keep on going sideways. So you just got to make sure that your rings are facing the right way. So these are going downward, so every other one should be going downward. Downward, downward with the top one overlapping the bottom one. Downward with the top one overlapping the bottom, and you just got to pinch where you are. That's what I say. Everybody else says we're driving nuts trying to do this all day. This is my downtime. Pinch. I really should have attached two to that one first, but oh well. We're just going 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Nothing to it. And the objective here is to go all the way around the hand. So 1. 1. 2. 1. And 2. And one again. A little bit of a snag. And two. Yeah, we are going sideways pretty fast. But we still got a bit of ways to go. So we gotta get all the way around. And what we're basically doing here is just making the borders. Third drop of the night. We on a roll. Need a translator in the comments? That's what I need to get a moderator for. Okay. Next piece. We need more rings. Always more rings. Do another 5. A little bit of a hang up. Can feel my snips getting a little dull on me. If you got the equipment, you can sharpen them up. If you don't, you can just buy another pair for $10. Hear my dog sniffing under the door. Tough one. Lift off with 2. 1 and 2 closed. Now, if we were making this out of the little tiny rings, we probably wouldn't be done with the one line yet. This is the same pattern, and I think size as the dice bag. If I really wanted to, I could cut the dice bag open and turn it into one of these gloves. But we won't. We're going for gold. Oops, it's supposed to be closed. All right, we gotta do another sizing here. Goes sideways a lot faster than it goes vertical. Oh, we are almost there. So, now that we are basically have our length, yes, most of them are basic regular paper clips just because of price. It's not my first time doing color though. First time using these gold. And there's an old bracelet. And it is 3 different weaves in that one. Red, black, and silver. Here is Loki's helmet, which is what I bought the gold for, but I can't really get in the camera. There's a horn. Still in progress. But I know it works, because here's a little tiny piece I made for Loki's helmet out of the little tiny rings. Same pattern as this, tiny version. A lot more complicated. Well, not complicated, just harder to work with and slower because it's small. Alright, so we're not going to connect the ends of the chain here. We're going to leave it open like that. We're just basically looking for a square. And now we have to fill in all of this. But instead of doing it one ring at a time, we're going to make a series of these ropes. So a series of these straight lines here. We're going to make one there and connect it, there and connect it, there and connect it, there and connect it, there. So on and so on. Until we have a nice rectangle. And I'm sure a lot of you can already figure out where that's going. Now, as far as selling the chainmail glove, that is quite impossible. Chainmail is very tight, and it is to the ring measured. So it's next to impossible. It's got a contour, it's got a hook, otherwise it's going to fall off, which this does not. Get a little bit of a gap there, but you have to have that because it's got to be as wide as the thickest part of your hand. But it's very flexible, it's very soft, just very hard to custom fit. You could do it for somebody in person, but not over the internet, not very well. Now you could attach a rope to it and make it very loose, but that's just horrible looking. That is what they used to do in the old days, though. Measure twice, cut once. But the objective here is to get one piece of fabric that goes completely around your hand. It's got to be a little bigger than you need it to. Then you're going to cut it to shape and size and tighten it up around the contours, etc., etc. But you're basically trying to make yourself a piece of cloth. So think of it like that. You're trying to stitch a shirt, you get yourself a piece of cloth first. That's exactly what we're doing. We're making ourselves a piece of cloth out of chainmail. Which I had a piece around here somewhere. I don't know, whatever. I got so much stuff around here. Actually, I think it's holding up my tripod. Yes, it is. Nope. Maybe the only thing holding up the tripod. Here you go. I'll use my chainmail belt. And yes, it is functional. And no, I didn't make the buckle out of paperclip, so I did cheat on that. Theoretically, I guess I could, but I didn't. Alright. Here is a sheet of the 3mm. So you make a sheet of this stuff and then you just mold it in whatever shape you need it, just like as if it was cloth. So if this was the glove, make a full sheet, just like so. Cut the hole out for the thumb, reconnect under the thumb, and that's a wrap. It's not that hard. Takes a little practice, but if you can get the sheet, you can get anything. Oh, it is extremely heavy. Smaller the rings, the heavier it's going to be. Because again, steel. If I ever do finish making a shirt out of this stuff, it will be extremely heavy. .3mm gloves, I think, are like 1.5 pounds, which doesn't sound like too much, but when you're talking about gloves, that's pretty heavy. These, because they're so spaced out, a lot of empty air, are not going to be heavy. And you can do a little bit more fine-tuning the smaller the ring is, because we're only going to be able to get as accurate as one ring length. So we can. At least TikTok doesn't kick you out live when you take a phone call. That's nice. Apparently he likes pickles, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, obviously this is a much smaller chain, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and attach it anyway. So the first step you got to do is make sure all your links line up, which, let's see here, I think I might have gotten that one wrong. Yes, I did. I got a mistake right there. Glad I caught that early on. Easier to fix now. That would have been very bad if I had found that later. First thing I ever tried to make out of paper clips was a shopping cart, and it took about 2 hours, and it was hideous and ugly. And then when I moved out of my last apartment about 6-7 years ago, the guy that was helping me move liked it, so I gave it to him. And that was a horrible decision. You should never throw away your first piece of art. But I've given away hundreds of items over the years. Hundreds of things. But the only thing I don't think I'm going to sell, or give away, I should say, is Bob, which is my paperclip dragon. Not to be confused with Steve. Steve's a little one. Bob's the big one. Unless, like I always say, somebody wants to offer me $1 million for Bob, I'll sell him for $1 million. Get this weird little thing on the end sometimes. There we go. Problem fixed. Alright, so we got a little tiny rope. It's not a full-size rope, but that's fine. We're going to lay it down on there. You got to make sure your paper clips, you got to make sure your rings line up. In this case, go in the same direction, one laying on top of the other. Middle, same direction, one laying on top of the other. And what we're going to do is connect it. So that's the connecting piece. That's the joint. So we're going to go through the top ring there, bottom ring there, bottom ring there. And we're going to line it back up. Connecting piece, that's the one we're hitting. drop what you got. Spread it back out. Make sure you got a decent connection on there, which does not look like I did. One extra ring. That's from earlier when I went to fortify it, which I shouldn't have done because that was a mistake. Alright, there we go. Back on track. And we're going to leave that unconnected for now. Just because it's easier to find your spot when you're lengthening the rope the rest of the way. So we're basically making a bunch of loose threads on here. Start a new one. That's our open one. Closed. Not while I'm wearing it. I can tell you this weave right here is not going to hold up. 3mm mic, depending on how much power you hit it with. Time to cut more. My last 6. I have to make some more. Actually taking a lot less than I thought it would. Bad cut. No. Thin piece of steel is not going to stop a bullet. Might slow down a bullet, but I wouldn't wear it. Best chainmail in the world ain't going to stop a bullet. Well, at least nothing I would risk. It's more to protect you from slashing. So, dragging the knife across it. One more on this strand. Well, one more row on this strand. galvanized steel, so not waterproof. They will rust over time if exposed to water. I mean, they're still pretty weatherproof, but galvanized, not stainless. Unfortunately, manufacturers don't go for stainless. But I mean, the gloves are 10 years old, and you see a little bit of oxidization on them, but not a whole lot. It's still pretty good. And frankly, I kind of like the darker look it gets over time. You can actually look at a piece of paperclip chainmail art and tell exactly how old it is. Well, not exactly, but you know what's older. Going back to the sheet for demonstration purposes. If you look closely, you can see shiny, really dull, less shiny, very shiny. That's from the different years that I added to this piece. Eventually, it'll all be the dark weave, though. Favorite thing I made is in one of my recent before and after videos. It is a demon walking his demon dog under a streetlight. It's a very simple piece, but I like it. All paper clips, of course. Okay, let's line it up. Connecting piece, so we're going there and there. Slippery little paper clips. Go. Okay, third strand. Alright, so we're going to need one more, two more, three more strands, and then we will connect each of the strands together and make them the same length. And then all we have to do is a little bit of cutting, a little bit of adjusting, and we are done. Beverage, where's my beverage? Who's got a watch on? What time is it in New York? Or Central, or Eastern, whatever. Got no clock in here. $10:51 Central. All right. I guess 2 hours to finish this, and I'm not even an hour into it. I think my math might be right. Yeah, technically an hour. I started 10 minutes early. Okay, I'm going to connect this strand. Line it up, make sure you got the same pattern. I do. So, just like before, we're going to go here to here, here to here. Don't drop the ring. Not normally this awkward, but I'm trying to do it while keeping it on the camera. There we go. Last two little pieces on your rope tend to do this. Just kind of gets turned inside out. And just pinch it and pull it through like thread. There we go. And now it's wrong. It flipped around, so we're going to push it back through. There we go. Got to make sure they're all going the same way. Which that little ring right there does not seem to be. It isn't. And yeah, now we're good. All right, we got some new people in here, so let's go over this. We are turning gold paper clips into these gold rings, and eventually we will be turning them into a glove. Same pattern, much bigger rings though, simply for time reasons. I'm gonna try to get it done in one night, so. Little tiny rings, yeah, that takes a lot longer. And we're gonna need to cut some more. So I gotta make some more. I don't even have any more coils left. Don't need the ring for the moment. Knock out another 6. thought I lost my rod. See if I can avoid putting the paperclip through my finger like I did last night, which is how I got that. Nice one for a few minutes at least. Alright, let's cut it. After I grab me a piece of candy over here. I gotta have the candy. And that was a little wonky. Can't be having no wonky rings. And back to weaving. I'm going to go ahead and use these two and connect just a little bit down this line. Three. We're going to go 2 on the left and matching 2 on the right. If it'll hang with for me. Come on, behave. Chainmail can be temperamental. Always easier when you spread it out. That's the problem right there, that ring. So it might not look like nothing. This is being made from gold paper clips. So it might not look like nothing, but once you're used to doing this, you can see what the problem is, and it's that little ring right there. It should be connected to that one. And that's all it takes to cause a problem with the pattern. Fourth drop of the night, might be fifth. Told you it was a bad omen. Don't lose that ring. And it's always easier to take it completely off. These are AACO. I do give them a thumbs up. 14 gauge, galvanized. Paint is flaking a little bit, but considering how much pressure I'm putting under these things and hasn't completely fallen off, it's some good work. All right, now to fix the problem. Okay, we return that piece to its original form. Now, what went wrong on the connection? Get that out of there. All right. So let's call these an edge piece, this final piece on the side here. That's going to be our edge piece. So that means this is a connector. And that means those. Okay, so I should have gone through that ring. That's where the mistake came in. Yoink. Goes back to when I put that second row in. I said I wanted to do it for stability. That was a bad idea. Always good when you gotta destroy something you just made to fix it. There we go. That makes a lot more sense now. And all right, we're all lined up. Much better. Except for the end here. little bit of a tangle. Flip it inside out. Tangle resolved. Okay, so now what I started to do 10 minutes ago. Gonna lift this up so it's easier for everybody to see and for me. Getting there. Oops. I don't know, keeping a guinea pig in the armor could be the problem. I think he'd probably wiggle out. Inside out again. Always on those end pieces. Just doing my count. Gonna be one too long, actually. It's okay. Yep, one row too long. That's okay. It's calming. Just gotta relax and have patience. No, actually, it looks like I got it exactly right. Okay. Thought it was one long. Inside out again. Always those last two rings. Settle down, dog. I need more. Doing some math. All right, so let's get the gummy worm. Centerpieces. 11, so edge should be 12. It is. I got no pen. In my office with no pen, that makes sense. I don't seriously not have a pen here. We're going really low rent. Can slightly see it. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 more there. Actually, that's 11, so that's minus 1. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 30, 90, 100. 150-ish. By 5. We're going to need 30 more paper clips to finish this. Yeah, it's probably going to be a 2-part. Alright, y'all. I'm going to take a little break before I have to straighten and coil and cut all of these rings to finish this. I will be back on in a bit.